Okay, I see quite a number of people already connected. So in view of time, I would like to start already. So it's my pleasure to introduce you Angels Orduna is the director of Spire, and most probably all of us have worked in a Spire project in the last few years. Today there are also some projects, Spire projects, and she will tell us a little bit more on the future of Spire and actually processes for Planet, which is the new name. And as usual, during the presentation, you can put the question in the chat, and then I will read at the end of the presentation. Angels, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Fausto, for introducing me and for this wonderful invitation. I'm very happy to share with you on the future of our partnership. There are many changes there. So as you can see here, the first thing you can see is that we have two names here. One is Aspire, which is the first partnership under Horizon 2020 that we ran into, and now we will turn into processes for Planet partnership within Horizon Europe. So that in itself, it's a very important change. Another important change that you can see here is that originally we were 8 sectors. So when Aspire was created, the association Aspire was created, which is the private partner of this partnership. And it was created and founded by 8 sectors. And now we are including pulp and paper sector and refining sector. So we are now 10 sectors, and we are improving this cross-sectorial dialogue. And then with Processes for Planet, we aim at transforming the European process industry for a sustainable planet and a prosperous society. By the way, I didn't say it yet, but whenever you need to stop me because you have a question or you want to comment something, please, I'm happy to receive your comments and questions. So who are we, right? Because we are a partnership, but we are also an association. Is that the same or not? It is not. So Aspire is the cross-sectorial association, the one I represent, which gathers these 10 sectors, with members, more than 160 members that team up in more than 20 EU countries. And here we are counting basically the headquarters of our members, because in reality then all our members, and especially the large companies, have plants in different countries that maybe are not counted here. And then we are the association, and who is our partner? Our partner is the European Commission. Under Horizon 2020, we ran the partnership Spire with DG R&I and a little bit also of collaboration with DG Ener. Under Horizon Europe, we are turning into Processes for Planet, and then our partners are DG R&I and DG Grow. So there is a bit of change there. But what keeps is that we keep representing the process industry, which represents 1.8 billion turnover and 1.8 trillion turnover. This is a mistake here. And then it's 4.7% of the EU 28 GDP. So we are still considering under these numbers the UK, but we represent around 25 million jobs and 78 billion capex investments. So these type of industries face very important challenges, and that is the reason why this partnership was created. So they need huge, very high amounts of money to develop the R&I, and it's very high risk, long-term innovation that they need to develop. So, but this is, even if this is an industry or a partnership driven by the process industry, which includes the energy intensive industry sectors plus 2 sectors which are transversal, water and engineering, then We also include among our members clusters, industrial associations. We include research members, academia, KICs, even NGOs, regional representatives, and other financial partners, are other type of partners. So our membership is really very open and welcoming to different types of members. So, but we are not the only partnership in town, right? So there is the same way that there is a value chain of the industry, there is what we call a value chain of the partnerships. So Processes for Planet represents the process industries, but then we also have other partnerships that are representing a previous part of the value chain, like Water for All, clean hydrogen, or clean energy transition. But then we also have others that are at the same level as us right now, from the process industry point of view, which are circular bio-based EU, but then also clean steel, which is a new one, a chemicals risk assessment, which is also a new one. Then everything, all the materials, so these are our providers and somehow our enablers, but then we are also the providers and enablers of the manufacturing industries, which are represented by Build for People, Made in Europe, the batteries, the new batteries partnership, or the new EIT manufacturing KIC. In the end, we all deliver to society. And there are some partnerships which are a bit more closer to society, like this driving urban transition for a sustainable future. But we have more enablers, the KICs, the EIT KICs, or digital partnerships. So Climate KIC, the digital partnership like artificial intelligence, data and robotics. All these are great enablers for a part of our roadmap. And finally, we aim at closing the loop. So you see that we are representing the value chain in a circle because we aim at closing the loop. Anything that comes from the energy providers or the raw materials providers need to be processed by us, they need to be converted into products that we all buy as citizens. And then what happens with this? Very often, so when we buy this jacket, when we buy this smartphone or whatever, what do we do when this is over? When we don't need it anymore? When we talk to the municipalities, this goes to the landfill or this is incinerated. So what we pretend is to close the loops so that this does not happen and we really get to a circular economy. This is part of our goals. So we need really the waste management, the regions, the cities, and we need all the actors of the value chain to contribute. So we have a systemic perspective, even if, of course, we will influence with what we can do from our share of this systemic perspective. So we have a unique cross-sectoral approach, as I said. Why do we say we have a unique cross-sectoral approach? Is it that there are no other sectors, there are no different sectors in the other partnerships? Yes, there are. The question is that when we consider we have a sector on board, it's because we have the industrial association at EU level representing that sector, plus the companies. So we have these 10 sectors, but then we have other companies from other sectors like IT, like textile or energy, which are not considered part of our 10 sectors, but which are very important as members and can contribute greatly and benefit greatly by joining us. So together we raise the voice of these 10 sectors and of the whole community. Together we define joint solutions, and this is something that is very important for our sectors. And in the case of Aspire, we have delivered 125 Aspire projects up to 2019. We are now counting which are the last projects for 2020 that have been approved, because some grant agreements need to be still confirmed by the Commission. And then we have also a direct access to a pool of knowledge, of talent, of SMEs that are providers of the large industries. For the SMEs, they have direct access to their customers. So we also provide a lot of opportunities for all our members. Then how do we work? Because I said, so what I have just explained is more the point of view of what do we do, what do we provide to our members as an association, but then we are partnerships. How do we collaborate with the Commission? I'm going to explain it very briefly through the governance of Aspire CPPP, because the governance of processes for Planet is being discussed and it will be settled very soon, but I cannot advance everything yet. But it's a good example anyway. So as a private partner, we are the association, we have the typical General Assembly, Board of Directors, an advisory group, and several working groups to which any of our members can participate. But then the public partner is the European Commission. So where do we meet? Where do we formally meet and discuss? At the Partnership Board. That's where our members and the Commission discuss on the priorities of the roadmap, on the priorities of the future calls of Horizon Europe, in the past calls of Horizon 2020. Yeah. Then once the calls are developed, we don't intervene anymore. The Commission publishes them, the Commission launches the calls, the Commission selects the projects, we don't intervene there. It's very transparent in this sense. But here we have huge opportunities for our members to raise their voice and to really shape the future calls according to not only, on the one hand, to the European goals, in this case, the European 2050 goals, and especially the European Green Deal, but also the circular economy package and other. So we have the opportunity to raise your voice on all these, but also to see, okay, what is the point of view of the industry? How is the industry ready to be able to achieve those goals? Because if the goals try to go to TRLs that are not even there, they are not going to be successful. So both perspectives need to be considered. Let me refresh and give some data on so we have developed in 2020 a trends report, and then we see that it's 1,775 organizations that have participated in Aspire granted projects. So we influence a large number of organizations, which you see are very diverse. So higher or secondary education establishments, private non-profit entities, for-profit entities, research organizations, public bodies, and other. Interestingly enough, 30% of the participating organizations are SMEs, and 205 million have gone to SME participants. And this is important to highlight because very often we have been said, oh, but Aspire is for the large industries. Well, maybe not exactly like this. The SMEs are really benefiting. So now we are moving towards Horizon Europe, right? So we have been in the last 2 years developing our new roadmap, the roadmap of processes for Planet 2050. So this, the main goal is to move towards a new generation of process industries in Europe. And then we have defined 4 transformation levers. So you can see that we are focusing on industrial urban symbiosis, on process innovation, on digitalization, and on non-technological levers. So aspects like electrification, CCU, but also energy and resources efficiency keep being very important. But we are adding new aspects. Then these transformation levers are translated into 16 innovation areas and into 36 innovation programs that specify how can we reach those the ambitions for the next generation of the European process industry. So what are these ambitions? So with this unique cross-sectorial approach, we want to generate impact. This is also a requirement for the partnerships, especially for the co-program partnerships, and it's reinforced even and strengthened for the next Horizon Europe. So we have 3 main ambitions. First, on climate neutrality, so we want to reach, to contribute to the net zero emissions scenario. Then on circularity, near zero landfilling and near zero water discharge. These are our 2 key priorities here and ambitions, and then of course competitive European process industries. You can have the cleaner industry in the world. If it's not competitive, it will close down, no jobs, nothing. So how do we do it? Through these 36 innovation programs. I will show this a bit later also, which include not only technology, but also non-technological aspects, but also Horizon Europe only covers up to TRL 7. What happens next? Because if we want to get to impact, we need to get to the first deployment phase. And that is when TRL 9 is achieved. So we have two key initiatives that I will explain today. One is the first of a kind plants. So all the solutions from Horizon Europe projects need to really become part of a plant, and then the hubs for circularity. Let me move forward and I will explain a bit more on this. So this is an example of the aspects that I was mentioning of the innovation areas. You see that we aim at a very ambitious progress to achieve them. Of course, it depends on the level of funding that we will receive, and it depends on the level of investments that this funding will be able to trigger. So, but you see that we are very ambitious. By 2040, we want to have a lot done, and by 2050, we want to have everything accomplished. This said, our roadmap has a flexible approach, what means that we will be reviewing it, and we will be seeing and analyzing the success of our projects and see, hey, is there any innovation area or program that needs to be phased out, or is there any that needs to be phased in? Because we didn't even imagine at the stage that we developed the roadmap that this was going to be needed or it was going to be so crucial, and now it becomes. This can especially happen in the case of digitalization because advancements are very quick, but it can happen in any other. So let's speak a bit about these 36 innovation programs. So first, there is one on the disruptive new processes. So moving toward these net zero CO2 emissions. So here, what we see is the importance that we move to a scenario where the processes are fueled through the renewable energy. So here it's very important that, of course, we need the energy sector to do their part. We need affordable energy, affordable renewable energy available so that we can fuel the processes. And what we can greatly contribute is to see how all this energy needs to be more efficiently used in the industrial processes, which could later be exported and transferred to other areas and to other sectors. Here, CO2, the capture and use will also be very, very important. I will explain this a bit later, a bit more. Then, of course, for the Secularity, we are basing our roadmap in two key points. So one is the upcycling and second is the eco-design. So as I said before, very often we talk to the municipalities or to the regions and they stopped. So the circularity process stops at, okay, instead of incinerating, I need to town cycle or I need to reuse the products. Okay, is that enough? So what we really want is that any waste that the final consumer delivers out of the whole process is not incinerated, is not landfilled, it's not just simple town cycled, but it is upcycled and reintroduced in the process industry system so that it doesn't go to the landfill. So for that, we need to really work with the waste management sector, with the regions, to see how all this is going to be reintroduced in the industrial system, but also, and then we need to adapt our processes, because of course, the more resources mix that we will include, the more our processes will need to be more innovative. But at the same time, we need to work on the eco-design of the materials so that in future it's every time more and more easy to upcycle the final waste, and we move from this paradigm of waste, from the paradigm of waste to resources, which is part of our roadmap. Then let me focus on the carbon capture and use. So it's very important also for us that all our roadmap is building up on the results of Aspire projects. But then it's adding a lot more. So this has allowed us to move from a paradigm of pure energy and resource efficiency to move to a paradigm of a systemic approach to achieve the 3 clear ambitions that I have portrayed today. But then it's also very important to know that we have been able to do so because we have learned from Aspire projects. So here is an image of several of the carbon capture or the CO2 carbon capture and use projects within Aspire portfolio from which we have learned. And on that we have built on this climate ambition that I have already mentioned. The focus is on process CO2 emissions and indirect emissions. So it's not one or the other, it's both that we need to bear in mind. The specific objective is to reduce emissions through CO2 capture and use. This is specific objective 2. We have others, but this is the one that I wanted to highlight today for you in this event, which includes the new efficient CO2 capture and purification technologies, but also the valorization routes to chemicals, minerals, and fuels. We have a specific KPI on the CO2 equivalent emissions reductions through CCU. And the target is 100 reduction trajectory at TRL7. What does this mean? Let me explain you a bit later. What I wanted to also signal is that in our roadmap, we have 3 dedicated innovation areas to CO2 capture and use, and 7 innovation programs that you can see here. So, well, I will not read on. I don't want to start reading. It doesn't make sense, but you will see also the presentation. But these signals that this aspect is really very important for the process industry and in our roadmap. 2 more things before I go to the to 2 key initiatives is first, among the 36 innovation programs, we also have those programs that are going to help us work on the competitiveness of the process industry. So first, we want to de-risk the investments. That is very important. We want to ensure a financial flow up to TRL 9. We need to work on defining the framework conditions for the market uptake. We need this available and affordable green energy as an enabler. All these, will we have all these through the projects? Well, maybe not, but what we expect is that the projects can provide very important conclusions so that we can raise the voice of our members with the Commission in the different structures that we are creating for processes for planet in the future, the different dialogue structures, I would say. Very important, the holistic digital process innovation 4.0 as an accelerator of the innovations of the process industry, and the hubs for Secularity as an accelerator of the innovation in specific sites, because impact happens somewhere. It doesn't happen just in the air. Yeah, or just on a paper in conclusions of a project. So in sum, all these needs to help us to ensure jobs, to have a skilled workshop, to deliver sustainable process, sustainable materials, and to shift to a real circular economy. And then a very important request from the European Green Deal is to export this innovation worldwide. That is, CO2 has no borders. So whichever innovation is done here in Europe, it's good to transfer it into into other sites of the globe. And very importantly also are the non-technological and social innovations. So not everything comes only from the technologies. There can be business models, there can be many other things, skills, LCA, and other aspects that can also help improve and tackle the societal challenges. Gender balance, you can see in the screen, is also very important. And then this is part of the research from the non-technological aspects that need to be tackled also. We have in reality, so this of course we expect again from our projects and from our members to be able to deliver and provide us with conclusions on this respect. But very importantly, we also have a project, the SPIA SIZE, which is supported by Erasmus Plus project, which is a project that gathers the ASPIA community. It's mainly formed by ASPIA members, this consortium, and they are working in the future skills for industrial urban symbiosis, digitalization, and also the aim is not only to identify the skills, but to develop the right curricula for the current workforce and for the future workforce, both from the academia, but also from vocational training, from dual training or whatever. And the important thing is it's not only the high skilled professionals, but it's all the levels of professionals, the plant operators, everybody, because after all, we cannot afford having a lot of people who, okay, does not improve in their jobs and they simply don't have options in the labor market. Okay, let me go to these marbles. I was saying before, what happens, how do we generate impact? So the marbles are one of the tools for us to generate impact. The marbles is of course a metaphor that we use, but this is the last stage before the innovations can be introduced in the market. So it is clearly acknowledged by all our sectors that there is no single technology that can deliver the 100% CO2 emissions reduction on its own. This is simply not possible. The only way that we can reach to that level is by integrating the solutions in a first-of-a-kind plant or in a first-of-a-kind unit within an existing plant. That is when we can make all the innovations work together to deliver the 100% CO2 emissions reduction or the net zero emissions reduction. So our Long Horizon Europe projects, our innovations will be developed up to TRL 7, in some cases TRL 8. These are the rules of Horizon Europe. After that, we still aim at supporting our members to find the right flow of innovation so that these first-of-a-kind plans are supported and then the technologies are proven at technological and at economic level so that afterwards rollout really starts. And the private investments are triggered. So we have a portfolio of 50 marbles identified, or 50 first-of-a-kind marbles. Some of them are based on the climate ambition, some other are based more on the circularity ambition. But it's and we aim to launch at least 15 in the period from 2021 to 2030. Another key initiative to move beyond the TRL 7 are the hubs for circularity. The hubs for circularity are have a very strong territorial connection, and we have identified already several initiatives out there at different levels of maturity, what means that they need different types of support. Yeah, and this is important. But the goal is that they all reach to the SRL. So this is the symbiosis readiness level. This is based, and you can have the link here, on a study developed by Klaus Sommer, who was the first president of ASPIA, by the way, who used to be that. And then, so these hubs need to gather the whole community, and they need to develop sustainable business models. So the idea is that they gather industry, they gather academia, they gather the public sector, they gather society. Of course, we aim at regions or at industrial sites where there is a great presence of the process industries, because that is where we can make a difference, for sure. But then these regions should develop business to territory plans that they should identify. Okay, what do we need as a territory? What do we need to change? What can the industry do to achieve the goal? What can the public sector do? What can the civil society do? And all together, they can deliver a plan to transform their regions into a climate neutral region or into a circular region. There are already some regions which are joining Aspire to work together with us on that direction. And then, of course, from Processes for Planet, we will develop the disruptive innovations that are needed from the industrial side. For that, then the regions or the industrial sites or the municipalities will also, or the member states will also need to play their role. This is a co-investments model that we are looking for. We aim, so imagine we have a network of hubs of Secularity, Spain, Norway, Slovenia, Germany, wherever, yeah? Imagine we have this network, they need solutions so that this transformation into the industrial urban symbiosis models and the climate neutral models can really work. Very often what we are said is that we don't have the tools, we don't know, even if they exist, we don't know them. So we aim at creating this European community of practice, which will gather, should aim at become a platform for non-competitive exchange of knowledge and best practices. So this is, for example, a toolbox or modeling circular concepts or other types of tools that all of them can have. But also from Aspire, we aim also at becoming kind of an umbrella that facilitates through specific forums or through specific events or actions that can embrace all the hubs and support them to exchange their experiences, their practices, and to transfer solutions across regions. Because even if we aim at a regional point of view for circularity, we also are aware that full circularity cannot come only within a region. Sometimes a region will need the resources that come from another side or the other way around. So we need to maximize the proximity, but also the connection to other regions so that the real circular business models can really become a trend and a pattern that is set in Europe for a long time. We need huge levels of investments. So we consider we need at least 33.5 billion up to 2050, of which to reach TRL 9, of which to reach TRL 8, we need at least 10 billion for the next 7 years. Yeah. So, okay, we will not get everything from Horizon Europe, and we will need to see how far we can reach and how far other institutions or other sustainable financiers can support for that. Sorry. Okay, I will skip this one. I just wanted to give some ideas on the SMEs. So because again, I insist our SMEs are growing above the EU28 average. You see that we are still using the EU28 because this is based on the last progress monitoring report, which was performed in 2019. Our next one will be performed this year, and then it will be based differently. But it's important to see that the SMEs that have been involved in Aspire are growing or have been growing above the EU28 average. So they say 7 new employees per SME. So while the EU average is 2, 40% growth in turnover, which is more than double than the EU average, and 27% of our SMEs say that they have won business through Aspire contacts, and that is because they enter directly in contact with the large industries, which are the customers and which otherwise they would have very difficult access to. So they are key for our innovation. Let me see. Okay, this is a bit more on these, so I will not extend much more on these, but they are really providers, and we can also help the SMEs to raise their voice. They are key partners for the processes for planet projects, whether it's in the hubs for Secularity, for waste management facilities, or for industrial symbiosis, or for CCU, or for digital technologies. There are many opportunities there that they can support us with, and we are very happy of that. What is next? And with that, I will finish, and I will be happy to have any question from your side or any discussion with you. So right now, as I said, up to now, we have been with a roadmap. We have also been very intensively working in our next Memorandum of Understanding with the Commission. So now we are finalizing the negotiation. We are finalizing the negotiations with the Commission on processes for planet Memorandum of Understanding. We are also, because this agreement with the Commission and the characteristics and the requirements to the co-program partnerships are different from before, so we are also reviewing our new working structure. So I cannot tell you right now which are the working groups that we have. We have up to now 7 working groups on digital, on CCU, on energy mix, and so on. But this at some point will most probably disappear, because we are working on a new structure that will be put in place as from April, and that will be fit for the purpose and the new commitments that we have with the Commission for the next 9 years. Our MOU will be for 9 years. So, and then this will be opportunities for all our members as soon as we finalize that. But then we have had processes for planet ideation or brokerage event exclusively for our members. It's still going on because there are several B2B meetings there, but then we will have in March, the date is to be confirmed because it depends pretty much on the Commission in this case. We will have a follow-up of this brokerage event, first because the first one has overexceeded our expectations of the number of people that wanted to participate, and that we couldn't give a space to all. But then in March we will have the ASPIRE board, and we will have the General Assembly, so they will validate the MOU for the signature. In April, all the new European partnerships, including processes for planet, should sign the MOU with the European Commission, and in May we aim at having these processes for planet launch event, which will be kind of a process industry conference. And in April, June, we will kick off the new working structure of ASPIRE that I was commenting here. We will also kick off the new governance and advisory structures. I can advance very, very briefly, but I will not be able to extend so much on that. There will be a new partnership board, but there will also be a feedback panel and an impact panel. And these are discussion structures that will be out there to help us advance together with our stakeholders. In June, we will have another board meeting, and in September, we aim at having these projects and hubs for Secularity forum. And a board meeting. In principle, well, some of our events are exclusively for our members. In some cases, we open an event or part of it to non-members. But in principle, most of these events will be for our members with some specific exceptions. So I think that's it from my side. So I hope this was very clear on what ASPIRE is, how we are transitioning from ASPIRE to processes for planet, and happy to hear your comments, your questions, and to have this dialogue with you.
Thank you very much, Angela, for the presentation. It was clear. And, of course, there is time for questions, so please, the attendees, you can write in the chat, and I will read for Angels. I have a couple of questions myself. Of course, you show a fantastic portfolio of projects. Luckily, many projects we are participating. I mean, we as the people that are connected today. Mm-hmm. And I understand that you contribute to writing the calls. I know that you also contribute later because some of us has the website in Spire, for example, and you get also the results, right?
The results
of
the project.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the way it works, we contribute to writing, to shaping the calls. Once the calls, so there comes a moment when the Commission sends this to the inter-service consultation, and then we might contribute at that stage, but in several minor issues, because normally the discussions have happened before, right? So normally this is an iterative process. We said, hey, from the industry, these are the priorities. The Commission say these are the policy priorities, and then in the end there is a final list. Then we contribute to the text, then the Commission reviews, then they send it to the program committee, then the program committee, which are the member states, then they come back to us, then we review it again, we send it to the Commission to the member states. So it's a comitology process which has several iterations, right? Because each of them has their own vision or interest, certainly, right? Once this process is finished, once the decision says, okay, this is it, this is published, we don't intervene anymore at all. So we don't intervene in the selection of projects, of proposals. This is done as any other selection from any other call of Horizon Europe or Horizon 2020. That means the three independent experts that evaluate, and then they discuss with the Commission. That's it. We don't intervene at all. We don't even, and that's an agreement with the Commission, we cannot even provide a letter to any of our members supporting those projects from our members. That's an agreement for the sake of transparency. We don't do that. Okay, we can provide letters of support to our members to other calls which are not shaped by us, in which we don't contribute. This is an exercise of transparency. It is true that when the Commission has decided, then the Commission sends us the list, because the Commission also then expects that we support the projects. Yeah, so we support the projects. We provide, for example, a space in our website. We provide. We include them in an annual brochure with information of all the new projects in our website. We support them in some dissemination activities and so on. So that is part of what we do with the projects. When we have, for example, the Spire Projects Day, we invite the projects also, so they can present. So that, for example, if we have the Spire Projects and Hubs for Secularity Forum, for example, this will probably have an open section because it will be with the projects. Yeah, but then there will also have a closed section for our members, because of course we need to give that added value to our members. So you see that we are very transparent in the process and we don't intervene at all. But after the projects are agreed, then it's when we receive the list so that we can support them. I hope this answers your question.
Yeah, the first part of the question, yes. And the second question I have, I mean, being this large number of projects, for example, on CCU, you have many projects then compared to the one that we have now. So in principle, it would be nice also if you could do something with the results, you know, to promote in the next call the technologies that are, how to say, more promising based on all the results, not the final results and the public one. Because in this way you avoid that every work program will reinvent the wheel. In some cases, there are processes that go to TRL 7.8, but there are many that are repeated and repeated again. Yeah. But I understand that you cannot do this, or you are not doing this.
No, I think this is precisely one of the added value of the partnerships, and at least in our case, we do it. So another way that we support the projects and the Commission is that we do a biannual progress monitoring report. In the past, it used to be yearly progress monitoring reports. Now it is biannual. And this means that we ask the projects, hey, how are you doing in regards to our KPIs? Because all the projects need to answer to our KPIs. And then we see, okay, how are the projects progressing? And that is very important. And this will be also strengthened in the future, because we will not only do the progress monitoring report, but we will do a portfolio management, so that we can showcase the technologies that are ready to move towards TRL 9, so that the Commission or other funding or financial bodies can say, hey, how can we support these? Yeah, so that they really get to market. So this is there. This said, we need to keep neutral. We cannot say, oh, this yes and this no. What we need to present is, this is the portfolio, this is what they are telling us, and then support them in this way. Yeah, but we do. And I can tell you, for example, that in the last calls of Horizon 2020, in our working groups, of course, we have people from our members that participate in the projects. So they were telling us, hey, but for example, in industrial symbiosis, the projects have done this, and that. So let's not repeat that at all. So, for example, the last calls of Aspire 2020 for industrial symbiosis, we already considered the conclusions from the projects, and we discussed with the projects, and then we also considered, okay, and what are we moving towards in our roadmap? Yeah, it was not finalized at that time, but we already had a vision. So we already considered some things. So yeah, certainly we consider it so that we don't repeat it. Yeah, that is for me one of the added values of the partnerships.
Thank you. Is there any other question? Please write in the chat. Don't want to take all the time. I don't see people writing. While waiting, perhaps I can ask or say provocative question. I saw that, of course, in the next course there will be a lot of social innovation, which is very good. But don't we risk to have the same problem that we had with LCA, where in all the calls, irrespective of the technology, there was always LCA. And then, of course, you have a proliferation of these studies, but in some calls at a certain TRL, I think this is crucial to have, and in other calls is not. So how are you going to do? Because I fear that in the next calls there will be LCA social as points, and then the technology itself will be a very, very small part.
I think this is my personal recommendation. Huh? I think any proposal that any of you may do needs to make sense. So whatever makes sense, include it. Whatever does not make sense, do not include it. That is my recommendation. Then also we are talking about calls for proposals from a partnership. So it is very important that anybody that presents proposals for processes for planet calls is aware of our roadmap. Our roadmap is public, it's in our website, it's not finalized, it's not a final version, but it's a really very advanced version, so that the changes that we need to include right now are really minor. They will not change in terms of technology or innovation, whether it's social, technological or non-technological. But you need to consider that, which are the three ambitions: CO2 emissions reduction, net zero landfilling, near zero water discharge, competitiveness. And competitiveness, it's what includes LCA, what it includes skills, what it includes market uptake. So whatever on competitiveness makes sense, that's what you need to include. You see my point? So that is my personal advice. When I used to be a consultant writing proposals, and sometimes people told me, oh, let's include that and that. Okay, but does it make sense? Because the proposal needs to make sense. And if it's well defended, and if it makes sense, and if it addresses the three ambitions, and if it addresses the solutions and the requests that we have that we have in our roadmap, then it's when the proposal can be a success. Then if the proposal is only laterally addressing our roadmap, then it's not a proposal for Processes for Planet. Then people should look for other type of calls where to address these proposals. I don't think, especially in some calls I have in mind right now, the reuse of other proposals that I have presented somewhere else will not fit. So the European Green Deal is very serious right now. They are aiming at really reducing CO2 emissions, at really moving towards a new paradigm of circular economy. If we just try to reuse things, no, let's sit and think about, okay, up to now we were doing it like this, but what do we need to do now to move towards 100% reduction of CO2 emissions? I can tell you that at the beginning of the discussions, our people said, but is this even possible? Yeah, so, but we need to make it possible. Otherwise, there will not be a second Processes for Planet. You see my point? So it's really an important, but it's not only for us. So for us, it's just an office. But the importance is for the industry. So this requirement from the Green Deal is not for the partnerships. It's for the industry. The partnerships are here to help them. It's very different. So I really invite you all and encourage you all to think, okay, what is the roadmap? And then if you have doubts, we organize sometimes webinars, tune with us, ask us, and we will see where you can come so that you can understand what you need to respond to and contribute to, because that is the important thing.
Thank you very much. Is there any question for Angels? I don't think so.
I hope this doesn't mean I was too boring.
No. It was a very nice presentation.
But very, very clear.
Okay, so thank you very much again, Angels, for this presentation. And as I said, we are recording it, and we will also share the PDF with the partners.
Perfect. Feel free to do that.
Thank you very much. And,
thanks, everybody.
Thanks. And for this plenary session is now finished. You can go to the chairs of the two other sessions. One is chaired by Gianpaolo Manzolini, the other one by Vesna Middelkoop. And I would like to ask the chairperson to please recall that we will have to submit the proposal, sorry, not the proposal, the presentation at the end, because we will make a booklet of the presentation. And with this, thank you again, and see you in the other sessions. Bye, Angels.
Thank you, everybody. Have a nice day.